Ponder the Real Critic, and this is the Real Critics Network. I caught up with Katya Woods, and Katya, firstly, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm actually, a lot of people are like, I'm doing good. How's everything with you? World travel.
Everything's good. Been doing a lot of travel. I've been obviously watching a lot of things you've been doing on social media, and you that Brazil in you has come out like hard. You out there talking about Brazil, representing Brazil from food, from culture, from history. I mean, you doing it all. So this is not even a dig because I was hoping your team won World Cup. So I'm just gonna let you talk about a little bit of Brazil. That's what's on my mind right now. Brazil. Talk about your people.
I just think that I think we all knew this team wasn't going to win the World Cup. That's why I wasn't surprised. I had France picked as winning the World Cup. You know, they came close, but I always had my eye on everybody else. I knew Germany wasn't going to win it either because they're in a rebuilding stage. But I just think that, yeah, our midfield is 36. That's a problem. And he was hobbling along, Casemiro. Yeah, I know he scored, but he still was out there like old man Winter. That's a
So
problem. We had a non existent midfield, which you cannot win with in this Gold Cup. I mean, in any tournament. The midfield was like, look at me. The defense was like, look at me. I knew going in that their plan was like to just outgun everybody. They're going to go in, we're going to use our attackers, and God willing, they'll score more than the other side, and defense be whatever it is. It's also a new coach. Brazil has had 4 coaches within the last World Cup cycle, which is not a good way to build a team. All the teams that advanced longer have had longer coaches. Deschamps, I believe he was with France 14 years. The Spanish coach has been there for a couple of cycles. The Argentinian coach. You can't build a system when you have revolving coaches because Brazil still wants everybody to come in. The good news is Ancelotti's contract is until 2030, until the next World Cup. So you have Copa America, you have some other tournaments, and he can now start to build and implement his system. So all of these guys that are going to be playing international tournaments, the future is bright. You have Edric, who's 19, you have Ryan, who's 19, and you have some other guys who are in the sub 17, sub 21 team that are also good. But I do think we have lost our style of play a little bit because a lot of guys are going earlier to Europe than before. And I don't think that, listen, a lot of people have opinions about that, but that's like saying you shouldn't go to the NBA, straight to the NBA, or you shouldn't leave college to go to the NFL. What are you talking about? It's a life-changing thing, and soccer players make way more money than NBA players and NFL players. I'm going to be really keeping it real. There's the actual salary, and then there's the numerous endorsements, and you have the opportunity to be a global star, unlike the United States. Like basketball, I think is probably the closest, but football is still bigger. I think the other thing too is, so there are several things going on with the seleção. But I do think we will rebound. I think sometimes every time Brazil has gone through that, they've come back bigger and stronger, right? But I think there is some reflection to be done in the CBS, which is the organization that runs Brazilian football. And there needs to be some hard conversations. But no one in Brazil, and I mean anybody with any damn sense, looked at that team and said they're going to win the cup. To be honest with you, I am very surprised they got past Japan. I didn't think they would get past Japan. That to me was like, all right, that's more than we thought they were going to do. And reality kicked them back in. But I do think that there is some hard conversations to be had. Now, on the other hand, what have we learned this World Cup, Reggie?
I don't know. So I think maybe I saw a full game between 3 games because soccer is just not my thing, or football is not my thing. But I mean, the excitement that it generates around the world is absolutely undeniable. Undeniable. So you tell me what we learned for this year's World Cup.
These are my 5 takeaways. Number 1, Black people are global. I need us to really, like, I don't know if it's a failure in the school system, but I need us to stop calling people that were born. It's like, yes, we all have African ancestry. Anybody that has Black DNA in them. We know this. We know that we had involuntary migration And we also know the second wave of big Black migration is because of colonization. We know this. Anybody that cracked the book know this. So I think it's very disingenuous sometimes when we have certain Black people say that they're not French. There's just as much as French as you are American. You just, because of these other things that were out of our control, you ended up on these American shores, but you are American. Because when you go to the continent, you just realize how far removed you are from that. That doesn't mean that you're not prideful of having African heritage, but it's clear as day and night that we are so removed from that. Like our asses couldn't go and live in certain parts of Africa and survive. Like we are,
Yeah, no, for sure.
too many generations in.
So the first one, so your first point is that we're global. What's the second?
Because again, people were so surprised that Ecuador, Mexico, whatever, had Black people on the team, or that the Swiss team had. It's like, oh, it had to be. Or this whole conversation on being able to nation hop. If you're of African descent, you have the option of, do you want to play for France or do you want to play for Ivory Coast, right? And that in itself is also a whole show, because you have to talk about, it's more than just nationality. It's also, one is a structured, organized thing, top to bottom. And unfortunately, while many want to play for the African nation, it's also a business and structural problem, because a lot of times the money is not going where it needs to go because you have corruption. We got to say the quiet part out loud. It's hard to say. When you have professional footballers saying, I have to book my own travel, I have to book my own hotel, when the football federation of said country is supposed to take care of that, that can affect your decision making. That out of the way. Number two is, you can see the World Cup effect. A good example is the goalkeeper from Cabo Verde, right? And then it's Cabo Verde. It's not Cape Verde. Look it up. It's Cabo Verde. And he went from like 50K followers to over 20 million. That's the World Cup effect. You can go from obscurity, but if you have a really good tournament, your stock can go up, right? And people were very surprised, for instance, that some of these footballers have more followers than a Jalen Hurts, a Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, because it's a global sport. It is a global sport. People know Mbappe in China. They definitely don't know who Patrick Mahomes is in China. That's the difference, right? I think the other thing too is, it is truly more people. And here's the other kicker. The coverage on the American TV, Fox News, was interesting, right? There were a couple of people who were standing up. Rebecca is pro, Terry Henry, Zlatan is Zlatan, and Alexi Lawless, thoughts and prayers. But people were so frustrated with that, they tuned into Telemundo, who's the biggest winner, I think, as far as TV. More people watched the World Cup here in the United States in Telemundo, even not speaking Spanish, than they did in English. It went so well that Telemundo now is the official broadcaster in Spanish for Premier League, Champion League, all of these other things, La Liga and everything, starting this fall, which is crazy, which is amazing, right? But I think the other part is, most important, and you and I have talked about it, is we may finally have a real conversation in this country about how soccer, football is done, and the gatekeeping, and how, if you want a better team, if you want to win, what is happening is not working. And this gatekeeping everybody said it, the best players in the world come from the meekest backgrounds. And if you had the American system in these other parts of the world, that includes Europe, we definitely know that's Latin America and Africa, you wouldn't have half of these World Cup winning teams. So America has to decide and stop saying, well, it's the sixth most popular. No. You can't complain about not doing better, right? If you're not willing to look at the fact that you can't go into South Side of Chicago and there isn't a football field. And I don't mean we don't need the manicured lawn, because in Brazil, most of the fields are concrete and 2 goalposts, right? And the fields that are available, locking them down after 10 p.m. If you want kids to play, they have to be able to have access, and that means a field, right? So you and I both know, out of 20 kids, are all 20 kids going to choose the soccer field over basketball? No. But if you can get four and those four get other four, now you've got something. And if you can get them to fall in love just by playing, like you do pick up basketball, and start to develop skills, and then a club come down and says, hey, little Reggie over there, he stands out a little bit more than the rest of the friends. The friends are cute, but he got something. And then that team invests in Reggie's education as well in his fundamentals in developing a player. Now you have something here. And that is, I think, the most important getaway. There's no reason why kids from the inner city shouldn't have to, their parents would have to come up with $10K, which is crazy work, for them to play a game that is a working class game. That is, I think, the most important one, where you can say, and here comes to the other thing, right? People always complaining that kids are standing around, loitering, whatever the thing you want to utilize. This is an opportunity. Concrete, goal to goal. Hey, here are 5 balls. Go be great. Go have a great time. It's the same thing. Skins against shirt. Your 4 against mine. We rotate on who plays goalie. If you can break through with that, then I think you will finally have a different result for America in the World Cup.
Yeah, thank you. Those were absolutely great. I'm gonna give my 2 takeaways from World Cup, and then we'll move into talking about our movie section. But you were fantastic in terms of really looking at the sport, because this is what you do. I mean, you really love that football, and that I love it. I love that you have watched it, you studied it, you know the players, you know the positions, all of that. A couple of things stood out for me. Is that the first one is that this world sport could be a major phenomenon here in the United States. You kind of spoke on it just a little bit, but I want to speak on it in terms of how these host cities had these teams come in, and what happened with these host cities was unfreaking real. The way they invited them, the way they had them at their homes, the way the players actually embrace the opportunity to be in that city, to go to the local restaurants, to go and do some soccer things with the kids in the community, and to sign balls. To that level of accessibility really is a dovetail to what you were just talking about, because the opportunity now is that you've gotten so many people excited about World Cup, and the fact of having World Cup here and having all these different teams be hosted by different cities. And Chicago wasn't happy, but because we didn't have one. But I think having it in these small cities was probably the best thing for World Cup. I know it was in some bigger cities, but some of these smaller cities, the how excited and fun, how much fun these people had, it was a joy to watch. The second thing is that all I care about is the play. Everything you said, it makes sense. But because I just want to see the goals and the scoring, and that I just want to see that. I'm a scorer, so I want to see somebody score. The What I think World Cup did is, for people like me who love scoring, at least give us an appreciation for the skill of the game beyond the score. I want the score, so it is what it is. That's just
I
where
think everybody does, but I think we underestimate. People see grown men. I don't like what some of the pundits who never played, like Sean McCoy, talking about, oh, he could easily play soccer. And I'm just like, you sound stupid. Don't do that, right? It's insulting. And you know what I mean? There's a certain skill level. There's a certain endurance, right? You're running. You don't get to walk. Some people try to, but you got to run 45 minutes. Halftime is only 15 minutes. That's the part also people forget.
And getting hit all the time.
Oh, yeah. People are hitting you, pulling on your shirt.
You're getting hit all the time. I don't know what a yellow card is, meaning I don't know which one is a red card or a yellow card. I know what an elbow is. Don't get off of me. It's like, because it's a physical sport. And so for me, the score, I love seeing also the finesse of this game. And I think that was another thing. This was a showcase to America, obviously for the world, but this was a showcase for the finesse and the skill of the game. So those are the two things that stood out for me. I'm really happy that you took the time to talk
I
world.
the game. I'm going to be going to an Atlanta United game because I'm giving the MLS another chance. And guess who they're going to be playing? They're going to be playing Chicago. So I'll let you know how that goes. But I also think for people like you, because I know you're my friend, if you and I were in Brazil at the same time, I would grab you by the hand and we would go down to Maracanã Stadium. I'd get you your shirt so you can fit in. We teach you some. We'd walk into the stadium together, and I think it's also one of those things that when you are there and the craziness is happening around you, when that score, I think that score Lopez made against Argentina, the young man from Cabo Verde, is top 10, one of the most beautiful goals that happened during the World Cup. He nailed that in top in over. I think we were all like, I know we were cheering at the house. You would have thought this was the cousin or somebody. I think that's the beauty of the sport where you can go from like, and all of a sudden that happened. And especially if you're in a section and everybody's with it, like you don't have 15, 30 more new cousins. And I think that's the other thing is you don't necessarily, I think that's always my thing. I said, when people are like, no, I said, no, if I take you, we're not going to be sitting in VIP. We're going to be sitting with the regular people. We're going to have a couple drinks, or you can have your soda or water, have a little bit of food, and we are going to be in it. You walk away like, I can see myself. And as much as I know you love basketball, but I could definitely see yourself going, you know what? A couple Saturdays here, I think I'll be okay. And I know you're also a people person, a sports person. But I know that if somebody would have said to you while you were in Brazil, like, Fred, you would have been like, you know what? I'm with it. I think that's one of the things that I do love about you that, because you are a person that enjoys sports and competition, that if somebody said to you, I got a shirt for you, I got a ticket for you, Donna, we're going to bring it back nice and safe. And let's go.
Now I'm going. I'm going. That invitation, I know it stands. We'll try to make sure that we're Don and I are in Brazil at some point in time when you're down there to do that
Listen,
as
my
well.
uncle would have you. My uncle and my cousins would definitely be like, "Oh, Reggie wants to go to a game." You would be like, they would be like, "Shirt, what size you are?" And they'd go in the thing and be like, "All right."
Well, we would absolutely do that. All right. No, thank you so much for that. We couldn't talk without talking a little bit of
I
World Cup.
know.
So
It's just, and
for
listen, it
those
was all
people, for those
right.
people who didn't want to hear World Cup, I don't know what to say. I would apologize, but this is a world sport, and this was a phenomenon here in the States. So I had to talk a little World Cup. Let's talk some movies. The big movie that's out now that I really wanted to talk to you about is The Odyssey. And
Yeah,
I will tell you, I'm going to start off as we
please.
talk about as we talk about The Odyssey, because I have a feeling, I don't know this for sure, but I have a feeling that my friend went back and read it. Reggie Ponder did not. And I am so happy that I didn't go back and read it because I did not want to try to compare the poem to the movie. I feel many times that movies can't accurately get all of the detail of the book or the story before it in it. Some of them do a decent job, but there's always somebody, some critic out there saying something to the effect, they didn't show this and they didn't do that, and it's not true to this and it's not true to that. So really, for me, I wanted to go and see if they were able to tell Odysseus' story in a way cinematically that kept me engaged. Number one, I did not want to go to a 3-hour movie. Hey guys, this is not spoiler alert. It is 2 hours and 50 minutes. And it's really funny. If you go to the store, when they say $2.99, it's $3. However, the reason they say $2.99 is because they don't want to break that next barrier. So that's why this movie is 2 hours and 50 minutes, but it's 3 hours. It's a 3-hour movie. So I'm saying to myself, I don't want to go. Number two, the night I went to see it, I was tired. I took a blanket just in case I might want to take a little nappy nap. I did. Donna
Was an air condition because in case you went to sleep.
both. It was both. But once I get under the blanket, it's a done deal. Is that I felt that might be cold in the theater. So I said, let me take this blanket. And Donna was like, okay, you know what's going to happen, right? And number three, I wasn't feeling all that well. I get to the movie and it is packed with all the critics. Somebody had to give me their seat. And I really wasn't sure what if this film was going to be for me. I will tell you, I think number one, this thing was really good storytelling. They did such a good job from a storytelling perspective. Each scene, each place that Odysseus had to go after the war to try to get back home was interesting and captivating. News alert, Reggie Ponder did not fall asleep. I was on the edge of my seat watching each of these things. The next thing is that I felt that this cast did a really good job. And when we look at somebody like a Tom Holland, I was very impressed. I think everybody did their part, but I was like, oh, okay, because he had to carry a significant portion of this movie and did a good job doing it. At first, I was thinking like Anne Hathaway, really? I thought she did a good job in her role. I was, I think from a directing perspective, that Nolan was able to pull these people in and make sure that when they came on screen, that it was important enough for you to stop and watch. And then there's a message in all of this, many messages in this. And I think that those messages came through. And I won't talk about them yet because I would love to hear you talk about them. But I think that there were a number of messages out there. The Odyssey for me was two things. It was number one, the journey of Odysseus, and number two, the journey of his kingdom. What was going to happen to his kingdom while he was away? And those two journeys in the end come together. And I just think from a storytelling perspective, they did a good job. I thoroughly enjoyed it all the way to the end. I will say on the time, it could have been about 15, 20 minutes too long, but that's not a lot in comparison to what they put out there. I think the reason it might have been a little bit long is because they wanted to give justice to each of the segments in this film. And I think they did that.
I think so. Talk to me a little bit. So I did not reread it again. I read it and it's long, but I did read it high school honors. Here's my thing. First of all, if people want to see like that type of thing, there are plays around the world that you can go and you can see that whole a little bit more true to text. But Christopher Nolan, when he interpreted this, had to think about is how do I make this palatable for people who didn't read the Odyssey or people who are not familiar with Greek mythology. And by the way, for all those people are like, this is what Helen of Troy and this is what so-and-so and this is what the accent is supposed to look like. Greek mythology is make-believe. I thought we covered that in some type of world history or humanities class. Like Zeus is not real. Athena is not real. Poseidon is not real. I thought we covered all of that. Like, what are we doing? Like, if not, Google that on YouTube and go down that rabbit hole. But none of these people existed. You know, Zeus created the world. Do you actually believe that? So I just need you to pause for a minute. Now, number one, I will say that I thought Matt Damon was stellar.
Absolutely.
I thought he carried this and all the ups and downs and the emotions of this man who is just trying to go home, who is worn of war, and who realizes that they went to war for all the wrong reasons. He's tired of this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Second of all, I think that Anne Hathaway was really good, right? I think also this is probably Tom Holland's best role outside of Spider-Man in a long time. I
I,
think people have been on him and on him about can he do something outside of Spider-Man, and voila, here's this, and he's currently rehearsing for his next big movie. But hello, there it is, live in 4K. Now, I think first of all, things you are always going to get in Christopher Nolan movie: amazing cinematography. Like you feel this is the I was watching Maui live action, and it just gave CGI and green screen. And when they did the water scene, it just gave that, and you're like, shame on you, Disney, because you got a little bit of coin. Whereas with this, I knew we were in the ocean. I knew he wasn't filming this in front of some little green screen, right? He might have added some things for you to understand, but we were with them.
well, I want to jump in here is that he had to add some things for you to understand because the creatures that he had weren't, and you'd have to put some CGI there. And so the second thing that I talked about in my review is the CGI in this is really good
But it's
because
good. That's what I'm saying. It's good. It's not.
oh yeah, I just want to throw that in there because the CGI is very good. And I don't watch the all the stuff the studio sends us before I go to the movie, but I
I
did
don't
watch some of it afterwards and listening to the cast talk about how they were on the sea, saying that these things were they were in these different locations, they were on the sea, and how important that was in terms of enveloping the role that they were playing. And you could feel that. Excuse me for the
No,
jump
that's
in,
okay. No, definitely jump in. I think you feel. I think that helps you relate to Matt's character more. The struggle, especially as he realizes they're not all going to make it back home. This is not a spoiler. It's out there for open consumption. Come on, and like I said, the Odyssey story has been out there. It's not like it's brand new, but I think that is, as you're like, it helps you have this. I also think the fight scenes were stellar. Shout out to the
oh,
whole crew,
thank you.
everything. The
Thank you.
fight scenes were like, listen, we were in it. We were like, okay, heads were chopped and stuff, people were stabbed and everything. Shout out to costuming. Like, Stella, wonderful, right? You definitely, the whole cinematographer, set design, all them people, snaps and all the good things. The only issue that I have with this movie, in the middle, it drags a little bit, just a little bit. However, the ending sticks to landing. Because you're sitting there and it's like, okay, so they're drifting. You're like, when is he going home? You're sitting there a little bit, right? So you know he's going to go home. You know that it's going to come full circle. But you're like, okay, I do think for me, the middle dragged a little bit, right? However, I think in terms of him interpreting this Greek mythology, like Zeus's law and all of these things that these people wholeheartedly believe, you upset Poseidon, the god of these people really believe that. That part is true to Greek mythology. People in Greece, ancient Greece, believed that these things existed, right? But my other critique would be like, I think why Anne Hathaway is great, I think he still has a female problem. He doesn't fully know what to do. I think Charlize Theron could have been a little bit more fleshed out. I think Mia, who played Anne's handmaiden, I think that also we need to stop thinking that Zendaya's in this movie and they were going to advertise that she's in this movie because she's a multi-international star. And I think when people get upset when a studio does this, and we should have learned by now, studio's always going to do that to get butts in the seat. They're going to try to grab the Zendaya fans. And I think people get annoyed that you have to sit through 3 hours in order to see her have whatever the 8 minutes of screen time, right? I think it's the same thing with Lupita. I think Lupita did what she needed to do with her screen time, but it wasn't a lot. That's why I'm like, I'm really trying to understand why these people are flipping out when she's not even in a movie like that. Like Helen of Troy has never been the driving force in the Odyssey, so I need them to come now. But I do think the performance, the two are John Leguizamo
Thank you.
Appreciate.
I'm so glad you mentioned John as well. But Corey and Corey, by the way, did a really good job.
Yeah. And I'm looking up her name now. Now we done had 15, 11 discussions on how long you got to be in a movie to get a nomination, right? And it is Samantha Morton or Cersei. She's the one when stuff happened when they ate the food, the witch.
Hmm. Okay.
I think she was upset.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned her too. Yeah, she was. I thought you mentioned all these people. So in my review, I talk about Matt Damon putting in a deeply believable performance. You talk about how good he was. I believed him. I believe that all the things that were going on with him as he was going through it. Hey, he was very, very convincing.
I mean, the supporting cast. We got to talk about him as
Robert
Robert Pattinson, but also Himesh Patel as Yuri Locus, who was
Mes Patel
fantastic.
was excellent.
He was absolutely fantastic. I think this movie is a good example of when you don't just concentrate on the top, but you concentrate on the top down. There were some absolutely fabulous casting here in these role players. Ryan Hurst, who played a mentor, a lot of people remember Ryan Hurst from Sons of Anarchy. John Berthal, who's always really good. Robert Pattinson, who I love, who's like, I want to play interesting characters, right? And him and Tanamas was, he was slimy. He
And
did
you
what he
mentioned him as Patel. He was so good as a, I guess, as someone who worked with along with Odysseus, but also as someone who pushed him, who
yeah,
challenged
he's
him.
and he's challenging him on, are you really being prideful? Are you doing what's best for the crew? Or are you being prideful where you're not willing to admit that you made a mistake? Do you know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
we learned that it turned out to be that it was the right one. But it is all around, I think, what I love about Christopher Nolan, whether you like his movies or not, he goes for it. He's not afraid to try. He in this world, Reggie, you and I talk about this all the time. We're so tired of people telling you a movie is going to be great and they're striving for greatness, and we get mediocrity. The sales pitch is better than the product, right? With Christopher Nolan, you don't get a sales pitch. He's just like, this is something I've been dreaming of. This is how I envisioned it. This is how I wanted to shoot it with the 7mm. You always also, we got to also talk about liquid score, which is insane because this movie doesn't work without a great score and these different things to pull you in along with the sound team, because you need to feel the angst that I was feeling, the angst sitting in my chair, right? But I think with Christopher Nolan, what I respect about him as a filmmaker is he's going to make the movie he wants to make. And if you get it, you get it. And if you don't, he don't care. He's committed to making the vision. And that's what, and I think we need more filmmakers who you had a vision and then somehow along the way, you can tell where the vision started to unravel, who took you off the train, my guy. Where you're like, it could have been fantastic if you just stuck to your guns. And I think with Christopher, even all and these are minor details that I have issue with, he's still going to give you the movie that he sat down, planned out with his team to make. And I think do I think it's his best movie? No, but it's freaking fantastic. It's entertaining. And I hope and I pray when other filmmakers see that they are inspired to, we don't need an Odyssey Part 12. We don't need that. But whatever it is that's sitting in your inbox or has some dust on it, dust that off and go strive for greatness.
I'd be very interested in what you think is his best movie because this has risen to the top for me.
I mean, it's definitely, it's like top 5. I think it's.
I like this much better than Oppenheimer. I thought Oppenheimer was fantastic.
Yeah, I like this better than Oppenheimer. Now you're gonna make me dig in here.
Oppenheimer gets seven Oscars, but I like this much better. And I don't know if it's also the expectations going in for me was this is 3 hours. Do I really want to see it? Is it really going to be that great? You and I just got through talking about all these actors, and every one of them, I felt like they put up or shut up. Every one of them, their screen time, they made absolute good use of the screen time they had. So for me, this is good. I'm hoping that at the end of the year, that people are going to remember this film as one of the films that absolutely, for many reasons, should be in the Oscar talk. And I'm
Oh,
just going to bring
I
that.
think this right now, and we have other stuff to see. We still got to go to TIFF, and we got to have the fall stuff, and some of the stuff from Con will now be seen by more people. But for me, it's Interstellar, absolutely the Batman series. I think Matt Reeves is doing a good job, but I still like Christopher Nolan's interpretation. Inception, I adore Inception. I always watch Inception when I see it, even if it's in the middle. I mean, I know it's going to end, but I'm sitting down and watching that.
Inception
Uh,
is one of those.
yeah,
Yeah, Inception.
because we
I'll
still
give
like.
you.
I think the beauty about Inception is we still don't know if it's the real world or it's the world that they built, and that's the beauty about that film. We're still figuring it out, right? I also like Dunkirk. A lot of people did not like Dunkirk. I liked it, right? I think
What was the name
I
of
think
that?
something else. I think something else that he does that's really really well is he knows how to work an ensemble cast. Like
Yeah,
everybody has purpose, right?
he
I
did
didn't.
that well, and he did that well in Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
I will say
I did not hate Tenet. I just think when Tenet came out, it was the first big movie theater back in theaters, right? And I feel like had he sat on the movie, had he sat on it a little bit and waited for things to get better, I think the movie would have been better received. I didn't hate it. Do you know what I
I
mean?
didn't either, but I will say that and this is a pun. I do think when you talk about a movie like Inception, this one Tenet kind of folded in on itself, and there were just so many layers that he tried to do, and it worked very very well with Inception. I don't think that he executed as well when he got to Tenet. I understand it
No,
came. It
no,
was one.
I definitely don't. I think that's why I think if he would have waited a little bit, but I don't hate it. I think
Yeah,
it's
not
still,
any.
I think it's an entertaining film, but I do think again for me it is Interstellar, it is the Batman trilogy, and of course Inception. And then I would rank, excuse me, I would rank this behind that.
Okay,
You know,
all right.
but I think that's a good problem to have because
It
all of
it
these. And
it
if you said Odyssey's first and these things are later, because here's the thing, this is how I judge a good film. I would absolutely watch all the films that I named of his again. And we both
I
know
don't
we
know.
sat through some stuff, award season, whatever.
No, for sure.
And between you and me and the lampshade, you and I looked at each other like, I need to see this again. This was a
Oh, and
one and done. I
there are
don't care
definitely
how great people think it is, it's a one and done.
yeah,
And
there are
I'm not
definitely
talking about like
some
things like
movies.
12 Years a Slave, where we don't want to see that because it's hard. But I'm talking about just certain movies you were like, that's cute, but I don't need to see that, not even for free on HBO Max or whatever you have there, right? So I think that's again the beauty of his movies. It's also one of the reasons why a lot of people buy his stuff when it comes out in a box set or whatever, right? In the world where we are not buying things like that anymore. But I definitely feel like, yeah, it's a good movie. And yes, it's almost 3 hours, but again, I sat through Moana live action and that felt like 3 hours. And it wasn't. Because it just was so not good. Whereas with this, I was just like, and I'm probably going to see it again because Kevin hasn't seen it. And I want to see, and the theater I sat in wasn't the best theater as far as sound. It just in Atlanta, there weren't a lot of 7 millimeter theaters.
Oh, okay.
But I think I want to see it in a better theater. But I do think right now, TIFF dropped some galas today, but it's going to be this award season
Tiff
is
did
going to
what?
be very interesting. TIFF today dropped their movies for the gala.
Oh, okay.
Again, I need to go down that rabbit hole a little bit, but it's still, I do think that I wouldn't be surprised if this won Best Picture. And I don't like to do
Yeah.
predictions.
Yeah.
July.
No, this
I
one
mean,
was good. I
yeah.
like it. It's high on my list. I only had really two things that bothered me. I'm so glad from a female perspective you talk about how you saw the female characters. I thank you for bringing that out. I didn't. That wasn't one of the things that caught my eye. The two things for me is that I did think that it was about 15 minutes too long. I couldn't really pinpoint where I felt that it dragged, but I think I agree with you that there's this little piece in the middle, and I think it's around that Charlize Theron period where they dragged that out a little bit. But I am glad that she had a important role to play in this film. The other is that for some, because people really are literal, you do want to see if it's true to the poem. And so for some people, you might need a brief refresher. It reminds me of reading the beginning of the Bible where you be like, such and such begot this person, and this person begot this person, and it's begot, that you have to try to remember all of these different people and how they play in this film. One of those things, a refresher might be in order as it relates to that. Well, I did want to mention one other actor though, and that was Benny Safdie,
Mhm.
who played Agamemnon. I didn't have a lot to say, but was powerful
He had the
in
best costume.
oh, the costume was fi- fire, fire, absolute fire. For me, this is a must-see movie. I am recommending it, telling people to go out and see it, and get your popcorn, get the things you need. Don't get too much stuff to drink though, because you don't have to go
Now,
to the bathroom.
I went to the bathroom beforehand, and luckily, let's put it this way: as the credits roll, I was like, "All right, I gotta go."
Yeah,
So,
you and I both. You and I both, because I was like,
but if
as
you have
soon
to go pee, pee in the middle.
I was like, I got to go now. I got to go now. So I'm highly recommending this one. This is a must see. What say you, Katya Woods?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're gonna spend some money, you're gonna be in theater for 3 hours. Like, I think that, yeah, absolutely.
Well, good. I did. We're not really going to talk about any other movies today. But what other things have you seen lately? Oh, you saw Moana. I didn't think it was as terrible as probably as you thought it was, but I didn't think it was needed. I don't think we needed this version of Moana. I think if you're going to see it, there's some fun things there to go check it out, and I can see how people were excited to go and see it. I just don't think that there was any new ground explored. That it just wasn't Disney with this. Let me milk every little piece of water out of everything. This one was not needed. If we never had it, I wouldn't miss it. But I didn't feel like it was terrible. I just didn't feel like it was noteworthy, if you will.
I think number one is The Rock had aged out of it. The Rock had aged out of it. They needed to get somebody younger, but I understand they wanted him for the name. But I think he had aged out of it. That's the number one thing. I think number two is it lost all of its heart. I think the young lady was fine, but I just think it just looked cheap. And even though I know it wasn't cheap, but it just was not, yeah, it was not good.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this one did at the box office. How well did this perform?
I'm happy to look it up. I don't know. I think The Rock is a nice person, and I say this all the time, but I just feel like he is overexposed, and no one is willing to say that. No one is telling him to take a break. Like, how much more money do you need? Yeah, it cost $250 million.
Yeah, it didn't do that well. It didn't
And
do
it,
that well.
it cost $250 million and it made 178.5.
Yeah,
Like, people, and the thing is, and also he's got Jumanji coming in the fall. We need a break. Go sit down somewhere.
okay, all right, all right. You heard that from my friend. I'm like, keep doing your thing, Rock. One wasn't the one that did it for me, and obviously it didn't do it that for the audience either, because they only made 82 million here, and then another 96 million across the
Yeah,
world.
I'm saying normally sometimes international will save it, but even the people abroad, we like you. We like hanging out with you. And again, I feel like again, it's one of those things where he's great at advertising the thing, and then when you see it, then you're like, oh come on, man, what are we doing?
All right. Well, segment, and I want to get into what's up next for you because you got some travel things. Usually you're doing some kind of seminar at the National Association of Black Journalists. I know you're gonna be there because you're in Atlanta. I know you're going to TIFF. Talk about what's on your schedule. What's
My
what
next thing is we got National Association of Black Journalists at in Atlanta. So we're coming down to that. So I've been home and helping plan for that. But and then we have after that we have of course TIFF. So and then we get into fall award season and all that other good business. But what about you, Reggie? Where are you traipsing off?
firstly, just as since you said where I've traipsing off, I just got back from Washington, DC, but I came back in a hurry so I could make it to the big three. And if you were watching the big three on CBS, I had people texting me, Reggie, I see you, I see you. I was on TV and I almost took a shot. The ball came my way. I was like, can I? But I didn't because they were in the middle of the game, but I really did want to take a shot.
Oh wow.
But I had a lot of fun at the Big Three last night. It's great to see what Ice Cube and his partners are doing with that franchise. And in fact, it's been announced that it will be going public. So that means that they have been doing a phenomenal job of making that franchise relevant and profitable. So kudos to Ice Cube and his partners. I will be at the National Association of Black Journalists. And the reason I'm going is that I know he hasn't had the time to really research Atlanta like he knew Philadelphia, but Kevin can take me out to eat. That's all I got to say is that I'm like, I'm coming because he's going to be like, oh, Reg, we're going to go over here. And no dogs allowed.
Yeah, I mean, you can get him out prior to now. That's something you can get him out the house for some food. He'll be like,
But
he'll be like, let's go get some barbecue, or he'll be like, we'll find something. You know what I mean?
no, that sounds good. No, but on a serious note, I am definitely coming down for that. Donna's coming
I
down as
just want to
well.
let you know. I don't know how hot Chicago has been, but Reggie, Atlanta's been unbearable. It's been like you're gonna get cooked, and I don't mean you're gonna get fried, dipped, and barbecued inside. When Josh the other day, I tried in the evening to take him on a little walk. He looked at me like, "Well, let's go back in the house." I know you lying. That's basically was his response.
I feel you. I think we're there for like 4 or 5 days. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward
again,
to.
I just want to let you know when you leave that airport and that air hits you, you're gonna be like, "Oh no, this is very disrespectful." I know Chicago can get hot, but Atlanta has been.
It does, but it does. It's a different type of hot. We had 96 degrees the other day, and obviously that's hot. And then when you're in the evening and it's still 85, that's hot. But I know Georgia heat is different, and I've experienced it in many occasions. I don't know if I'll be ready, but I'll be expecting. So yeah, so I'm doing that, and this year I'm gonna go off to TIFF as well, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm hoping that I can get in. Last time I got in 14 movies, I think, and I'm hoping that I can get in at least 10. It's tough trying to get all those movies in and do a little red carpet and also some socializing. I'm hoping that I can do that. So I'm doing both of those things. And so that means I'll see you as well. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about as these movies for TIFF drop, what is catching our eye, that type of thing. But Reggie Ponda, tell the people where they can find you in the meantime, other
You can,
than at the big three on the basketball court.
yeah, if it's a sporting event and I got tickets because Katia Woods is right, I will go to a World Cup match. If somebody's trying to take me, hit me up.
Well, 2027. So And we can convince our spouses will probably be like, we coming too, because ain't no way. And don't be surprised if you do happen to catch me and Reggie at a football stadium near you. I'm gonna
Talk about.
make sure that he's wearing the right colors.
I will totally be there. So you can absolutely find me at indigo.com, sometimes as the Chicago Sun-Times, and all the time at reggieponder.com. That's REGGIEPONDER.com. Where can we find you, Katya?
You can find my stuff at cupofsoulshow.com, as well as the Philadelphia Tribune and the Sacramento Observer.
Before we get out of here, where can I find your latest review, particularly on the Odyssey?
You can find it at cupofsoulshow.com. It's also up on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, excellent. I forgot to put mine up yet, so I'll do that as well. Hey, that's our show. Thank you for joining us. You know, we're all about the conversation because we want to hear from you. So you got some thoughts, hit us up. We will see you guys next time. We out.
We out.